Hello and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thursday.
Look at Carrie's cute hair today.
Oh, you know what? I just got bored of, I don't know. I just mix it up sometimes. I used to curl it a lot and then I got out of the habit and I thought, you know what? I don't leave the house a lot. When I do, maybe I'm going to do something in my hair.
Spice it up. Make it special.
Speaking of look, for those of you that are just listening and don't have video, Camila has a very special sweatshirt on.
I do. Gosh, it's a week 2 of special sweatshirts.
Oh my God, yeah. Maybe that's your thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your thing.
Yours are special socks. Mine are special sweatshirts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, there we have it. It says, have you hugged a friend today for some co-regulation?
Yeah.
With some cute little friends. They're like almost Looney Tune-esque, but not.
Yeah, little animals.
Yeah.
A bull or something, a horse, bunny, chicken, sheep.
All kinds of friends. And one of them has like a cowboy hat on, or a cowgirl hat, or fire engine hat, maybe.
Yeah, but it's a reminder.
Yep.
Hug a friend.
Hug a friend.
Co-regulation. At least one hug a day.
Yeah. 20 seconds. Don't they say, like, in order for you to really feel regulated, you need like to feel the other person's heartbeat in like 20 seconds.
Yeah. So a safe person. So someone so someone that you don't have a complicated relationship with and someone that helps your body feel safe. But 20 to 30 seconds. And that does feel like a really long time, but it's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we need. I got a couple of hugs from a couple of strangers last week, actually.
Aww.
I participated in a singing event to honor Renee Good at the site. Yeah. And it was a beautiful, beautiful event. And at the end, it just like felt like the thing to do. People were just offering hugs and
it's lovely.
There was something really beautiful about like, I don't have a relationship with you at all. And yet here we are in humanity together, like feeling this.
You feel so bonded and connected when you do something like that with other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't feel like strangers.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yeah, there is something to that. That's kind of on theme for what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, it is.
We'll get into that.
Community and the connection and community and the benefits.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do your unfiltered moment?
Sure. Well, my unfiltered moment is on brand with the hair stuff.
Oh, interesting.
So I was thinking about it this morning.
Okay.
So I noticed that usually, I feel like people that usually hang out with me or see me usually see me with my hair down. But for this podcast, I feel like most of the time I have my hair up. Do you know why that is?
No. And honestly, I didn't even notice. What does it say about me? Well, I guess I see you in different contexts. I see you on the podcast and off. Yeah, you're usually a hair down person, and from what I remember, but not on the podcast.
Yeah, usually I was like thinking back and looking back, a lot of hair up.
Okay,
that's not my usual go-to.
Why is that?
So it's because
I love
usually wash day towards the end of the week. So
fair.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 100%.
So I wash my hair probably like, I don't know, every 4 to 5 days. And this always lands on like hair wash day. Like,
that's hilarious.
You know what? Just not doing it in the morning. It's a process. So it's an evening time.
Oh my God.
Got a lot of hair. Girls got a lot of hair.
Very long. It's thick. Yeah. That's so funny because last night I'm like, okay, it's a hair wash day for me too. And that's partly why if I curl it, it'll work. Like there's dry shampoo.
Yeah.
Sure. And I thought, okay, am I going to wake up extra early and wash my hair because I'm going to be on video? Or nope, I'm just going to see what I can do with some product and throw some curl in it. So we must be on kind of the same schedule.
Yeah, I think
now
so.
People are going to be tuning in. How does their hair look today?
This will get you on our YouTube.
Oh my God. I love that. No, that's honest. That's real.
Yeah. And it's once again, I think it goes back to just letting go of perfectionism.
Yeah.
It's like, I am not going to sacrifice waking up at, so early in the morning to do that, to show up in a certain way. It's this idea of letting go and letting people see us at all kinds of different ways.
That takes guts, though. That takes bravery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very good. You're worthy no matter how your hair looks, right?
Thank you. You all are.
You all are. And I'm even worthy even when I didn't make the choir group, you guys. I didn't. I found out last week. That's my unfiltered moment. I was on pins and needles, like checking my email like a fiend, and just a lot of screen time, a lot of computer time, a lot of social media time. This past week, I was getting to the point where I'm like having a tension headache, and that's like unusual for me.
It's like, because you've been waiting.
I've been waiting, and I've been like just consuming so much technology and email along with that of like, okay, I'm waiting for this update. Yeah. So the deal is apparently I was the only one that tried out mid-season, just because I have a friend in the group, and we were like, well, what the heck? Maybe he'd audition somebody. He said he's not adding anybody mid-season, but thank you for trying out. Please try out again in May. So
that's not too
far
off.
To do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And I asked him, I responded back and thanked him for the opportunity and said, do you know any places in the region where I could get some good quality voice lessons to get my voice in shape and ready? So
did he have some recommendations?
I haven't heard back yet. I just wrote back yesterday. I found out on Friday, and it was a busy day. We had a friend's birthday weekend, so that was perfect timing to get not the best news, because then I got to go spend time with friends. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely like a punch in the gut feeling, of course. And then I sat with it and like, you know what? This isn't going to wreck me like it would in the past, though. Like, I have done some work around this, not EMDR, which I know I told you all I was going to do some EMDR if I didn't get in. So I got to stick with that. Got to find me a good EMDR therapist. Mila, what are you doing next week?
Yeah.
JK.
We're skipping recording. We're going to give her EMDR.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? To film
live
EMDR therapy, all my trauma. Anyway, yeah, I was just kind of having this like parallel experience of, okay, same like feelings twinged for a second for me, and then I was able to move through it a lot quicker. And like, I think it helped to already have a plan.
And to process through it. Yeah. It's like, when or if this happens, how would I make it through?
Yeah.
Having that compassion, speaking it out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there it is.
Well, thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for sharing with me.
Yeah.
With everyone. What episode was it that a few episodes ago, you can go back to Carrie's Unfiltered moment a couple episodes ago where she tried out for this choir. Yeah. But you'll keep trying.
Right. Yeah. And if not this, something else.
Something better.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I think that big change too is like a feeling of more empowerment, and, I'm more of a grown up now than I was before, and can resource up and can find other opportunities. It's not this or nothing.
Yeah. And knowing like this doesn't define if I'm good at this or my worth.
That's right. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, today we're talking about community.
We are. Yeah, again, because it's just so relevant, and it is something that we have always needed. We will always need forever. And so I think we will be talking about this many episodes from now, continuing to talk about it. So if you don't like community, this might not be your podcast. Who doesn't like community?
Yeah. Well, the meaning of community, I think for us, because there's some communities where people get together and they're together because they have to. But this is, for us, is kind of
chosen. I think there is something about like people that go attend a religious service of some sort. A big reason that I've heard that people like to do that is community. Even if it's not necessarily like I'm super following this religion and live and breathe it. It's like there's people coming together and routine. Every once a week we do this thing. That's a big draw of religion, I think, many times. So for those of us that's not your jam, I think we have to be more creative when it comes to community.
Yeah. So what is the benefit of these group gatherings? Let's break that down. What is the benefit of being in groups with people,
in group
gatherings, in these socially connecting events?
Co-regulation is the first word that comes for me. Like if I am for instance, that singing group I was a part of last week or whatever, we were all there for a common shared positive goal, and singing next to people, breathing next to people, hugging people, like that is just so good for our nervous systems, you know? Not that all of these groups we're talking about are singing or for like a cause, but I think we have just gotten away from the village, from the community that, hundreds and thousands of years ago were so common and needed for survival. Like it's just in our spirits that we need community.
It's inherently programmed in us to crave that and for that to feel so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here at Achilles, I often talk about it as a sneaky support group. Because as a therapist, there have been so many times throughout my career that I have recommended support groups for people.
Yeah.
So I have recommended, for fertility support, because that can feel so lonely, or postpartum, or, grief, all kinds of spaces,
Divorce,
or anxiety, depression, divorce, all kinds of times in our life that can feel like such a big crisis and can feel really isolating. Like my experience is so unique. I'm the only one going through this because none of my other friends are experiencing this. But many people are not willing or open to going to a support group because it can be really vulnerable, or they might have some stigmas around that. Like, I don't want to hear other people's problems. I don't want to then have to feel like I'm fixing it, or I don't want that shame to come up. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I ended up in a place where I have to go to a support group now.
Yeah.
So there can be a lot of shame, stigma, or
Can
just
I add another one?
Yeah.
I have heard this before in my experience in the fertility realm, people going to a support group and feeling like, oh, but my loss wasn't as bad as her loss. I don't really need to be here. Or like when it's my turn to share, like that comparative suffering. Is
for
my
sure.
thing big enough to have all these feels about?
I think that can happen in all support groups. Yeah. Like for trauma or depression or anxiety too. It's like mine's not valid enough or big enough. And then those people don't want to talk about theirs. They just either get silent or get into like that like therapist helper role.
Yeah, absolutely. So a sneaky support group. Say more about that.
Yeah. So then I had this idea of creating community events where people can get together and just support each other in a different kind of setting. So maybe there's a plant swap and people come together to swap plants, but these people already have this joint interest in mind of fostering plants, and then they linger and spend some time together, and then they might start to build relationships or friendships, or a Women's Day event where we just empower and celebrate other women. Things like that, or even some, like for example, Jen here has this beautiful event. She used to do Attending the Inner Garden with some meditation and flower essence and yoga and just slow restorative movement, or a group for women to just move through menopause. So all these things that are not centered around like this is a support group, but this is the offering that we have. But women are gathering together with a joint hobby or a joint purpose.
I love that. Something that's, I think, makes this really approachable too is that it's very low stakes. Like when you talk about a plant swap, and you've done that here.
Yeah.
What low stakes? Like you don't have to share anything you don't want to besides your plant. Bring a plant. But you don't have to get vulnerable. You don't have to talk about your feelings. And yet you have people surrounding you where if you wanted to, you could build off of that. Yeah, we're both here for this shared interest. And then, have you been here before? Where do you live? Oh, tell me more about you. And then these things, especially when you get women together, it blows my mind how often something this little idea can just bloom into something so much bigger and beautiful.
Yeah. And people just start to connect on a different level when they're in a space like this that feels regulating, that feels calming, that feels approachable. People are coming together with similarities.
Yeah. Mila has created such a gorgeous space here. Like you walk in and you feel held. It smells lovely. There's typically a warm fire happening here. There's beautiful music. It's so thoughtfully curated. There's not a lot of like distraction, but there's beauty everywhere. It's just like the open opportunity to connect with people. Like you have really built that.
Thank you. Yeah, the intention was to stimulate all 5 senses. So to, from the moment that you walk in, to feel regulated and calm, to activate all of your 5 senses.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, the tea, there's always beautiful tea here to sample.
So to bring people together.
Yeah, what are some of the other events that you've held here? I'm trying to rack my brain, and things that are coming up too.
Oh my gosh.
Opportunities to gather.
I can think of one community thing that really brings people together is a sauna and cold plunge.
Heck yeah.
Being here in Minnesota, it's really cold and we're in a Nordic atmosphere. So to bring in the sauna and cold plunge is so great. There's some people around here that have a community sauna, and we've had events before where we rented the mobile sauna from Callie at 4 Elements, and she had the mobile sauna pulling up here, and people could sauna and then plunge. There's cold tubs, and sometimes if it's even colder than that, we plunge in the snow, but 8 people can fit in the sauna. You have people that you don't know that you're just in the sauna with, and you build relationships so fast because that adrenaline, being in that space together, and the adrenaline of running into the cold together and then hopping back into the heat, and fun conversations come up. You just laugh, and it's such a beautiful joining thing. So even, going from yoga, we've had events where we have yoga and then we do sauna and cold plunge. It's so connecting, so invigorating.
Absolutely. This is extreme, but like if you go through a traumatic event with somebody,
trauma bonding.
I'm not trying to say like trauma bonding necessarily, but kind of that theme. Yeah, if we sit in extreme elements together, there is something bonding about that. We are both like, this is first and foremost the thing at the top of our brain, how hot we are or how cold we are, and we are doing that together. And yeah, there's something really connective about that. Yeah, yoga can create that too. Pilates, I've attended a couple of Pilates classes here, and there is something connecting about that too. Especially if you're like more of a first timer like me, and we're learning together or we're laughing together of a certain pose, or like, oh my gosh, that tiny move really makes a big difference, doesn't it?
So coming in these collective community spaces, and why do you think, I wonder why it's so hard for people to get out and do this? What gets in the way? What is it that keeps us isolated? What is it that keeps us from going out into the community?
I think it's become so rare. I think we have just really got into this habit of doing our own thing, living separately from one another in our individualistic society, in our individual homes, that we've just gotten really away from the habit or the ritual, the routine. And so to come together really challenges like that individualistic mindset. Like, why would we need to do that? You know what is funny, actually? So I've got the walking club that started a couple months ago in Stillwater, Wise Women Walking Club, Stillwater. My sister was telling somebody about it, a white man in his later years. And he asked, well, what's the point? Why? Why do they do that? And it's like, I think that is a question that some people have. Like, why is that needed? What do people get out of that? It's like, oh my God, we need each other. We need this. The amount of spontaneous, organic, connective conversations that I've been a part of and that I've witnessed by getting people together with a common goal of community, connection, moving your body, getting outside is just magic.
Like, there's nothing amazing where the conversations go.
Right? But like, it is a need. And yet I think some people ask that question, why? What's the point? Why would we get together? whether that's the walking club, whether that's an event here, whether that's anything that brings people together in community. We've gotten to the point where we don't necessarily know why we need it, or maybe we've forgotten that we need it.
Isn't that a predictor of living longer too? I know purpose is one of them, but I wonder if being surrounded by people, well, that can give us a purpose too. So having a purpose in life is a big predictor of longevity.
Right. And back to loneliness, the loneliness epidemic we've been talking about, similar on your body to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So I think absolutely the antidote to loneliness is community. And community is life-giving. Back to that survival.
Oh, for sure. You know, the thing that pops into my mind too is when I think about the polyvagal theory, we have the safe and social, so that's the ventral vagal. We have the fight or flight, which is the sympathetic, and then we have the dorsal, which is collapsed. And so if you even think about those words like safe and social, so that is our grounded self. That is where our vagus nerve is stimulated. That is where we feel calm and at peace. And our nervous systems communicate and co-regulate. So safe and social, we will go out there and maybe we'll chat to people. We'll be open to that. But if we are in fight or flight or collapsed, if we're in fight or flight, we feel like people are going to judge me, people are not going to like me, or I'm too scared. We have these fears come up, we have these worries come up. And when we're collapsed, we're going to withdraw and isolate. And so I wonder if in today's society and community, people often are collapsed without even realizing. So maybe they crave connection.
Yes.
And being around people, but they are collapsed. I can't even imagine themselves like they're so burnt out by their work. They're working so much and they're maybe around people in their workplace that they don't really enjoy and they don't feel that connection around, but they think, oh, I'm around people all day. I hate people. And I wonder if they're in fight or flight or collapse. So to do a check-in. Yeah, to do a check-in with your body and yourself. Like, do I actually feel, regulated? Do I feel safe and at peace? Maybe go back to our polyvagal episode.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so much goodness there. Anybody can come to Walking Club, whether or not you've signed up or not. I like to get people to RSVP because I think there's some maybe accountability that I actually am going to come. I bring that up because I have to imagine you signed up for Walking Club 2 weeks ago. Now it's 10 degrees out. The sun isn't shining. It's Sunday afternoon. I should probably just get my laundry done. I should probably just stay at home, cozy. But I've signed up. Okay, I'm going to go. I imagine that maybe there are several people that show up to community events that are maybe more collapsed or not in that safe and social space. And then when they arrive, if they have even just one person that smiles at them and says, I'm glad you're here or welcome, that can do so much to get you into social, right?
They get a cozy coffee, they see a familiar face, or they do see someone smiling at them, or they do have a positive conversation.
Right.
It slowly starts to help them climb up that ladder.
Absolutely.
For sure. I think that's why so often people don't want to leave their house, but I think many people have experienced this when they don't want to leave their house, but then they do, and they're done with the event, and they think, oh, I'm so glad I went.
Yes.
I feel so much better. And that's that. It's like you've co-regulated. You climbed up that ladder. You've calmed your nervous system.
Yep. I'm realizing we have an optional activity when you get to Walking Club if you want to do what's called a speed chat.
Yeah.
I think it must help bring people into safe and social. There's 9 questions on there, things that are a little elevated from what's your favorite color. So it might be where's the best place you've ever traveled? When's the last time you were proud of yourself? What makes a good friend? And the deal is, if you see a woman carrying this sheet, then you know she wants to play. And then you go ask her for her name and get the answer to her question. And then she asks you something. And the hope is that you mingle around and meet 9 different women and have a little meaningful connection.
Yeah, and already start that chat. Yeah, and if you are in fight or flight and that feels activating to you, or you've got some social anxiety, that's okay. You don't have to participate.
And for some people, I think small talk is so difficult. And like we've talked about, like it just does nothing for me. Like I just would rather pass. It gives the opportunity to, hey, if I'm struggling here, I don't know what to say. Well, this is telling me what to do. So here we go. So yeah, I guess I just want to kind of bring home the point, even if you're not feeling unsafe and social on that rung of the ladder, faking it till you make it. And taking that leap of faith and attending a community thing can actually help you climb that ladder.
Yeah.
Right.
One exercise that I've been practicing really often with a lot of clients is first meeting our body where it's at with imagining a connecting experience. So sometimes if we're in that shutdown or collapsed, we need to just meet ourselves where we're at first without forcing ourselves to get out there or without forcing ourselves to connect or call someone. So the first thing you can do is just imagine in your mind, when is the most recent time that I felt really supported, where I felt really connected to someone.
Okay.
So you can think of a time where you felt that way with a colleague or a friend, whoever it might be, and really visualize that and picture that. And when you have that, to really feel it in your body, to think about, as I think about connecting with that person or getting that hug or chatting with them, what do I feel in my body? So maybe I feel some warmth. What does it feel like? Where is it? And really sitting with that and noticing that, and then imagining reaching out to someone. So not even then reaching out. It's like, okay, imagining reaching out. So if I were to reach out to someone that feels safe and supportive, or if I were to go somewhere, what would that feel like? And just doing some holding and imagery with that. And then the last step would be like, okay, is there someone I want to like text or call right now?
That's beautiful. And that's brilliant because it's setting the stage. It's like you opening yourself up to that possibility. And the brain really likes to be able to predict things.
Yeah.
So if you make this prediction or this remembering of, I had this positive experience with this person recently, and then you show up with that energy, being open to having that experience, and then you actually do have that experience, I think it just like deepens that story that I am worthy.
Yeah.
Community is important. I can do hard things, whatever it is you need to hear when you're feeling vulnerable about being in community.
Yeah, because I think so often we do the opposite. We go down that avoidance spiral of, oh, it was so awkward the last time I went.
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to go. What if this happens? And then that keeps us from putting ourselves out there. But we also need to create these positive experiences, these reparative experiences to keep us coming back.
Yeah. And kind of back to the Gottman, like five positives to every negative. Negative experiences are the ones that are much easier to remember most of the time. So we have to dig for those positive, experiences sometimes. Like, okay, yeah, that was in there, but it's just not quite as loud as the negative ones because that really, can grasp on sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Okay. So yeah, I think it might be nice to touch base with everybody here in the comments on YouTube, on Instagram, Spotify. What is the next community-based activity that either you're planning on doing or you've been thinking about doing, or maybe nothing comes to mind and you want to actually go and seek something out? What is on your radar? What do you want to be on your radar that you're going to step into to experience more community?
Yeah. Could be anything. You can attend it. You can host it. A book club, a night with your friends, a coloring night.
Yeah. And let us know. We'd love to hear, like, what are you interested in? How are you feeling about stepping into community more than you are now? And then afterward, like, what did that do for you?
Yeah.
Right?
So curious.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We'll
Take
see
care.
you later.
Thanks for hanging with us on This Is Not Therapy. If you enjoyed today's conversation, come back next time for more real talk, unfiltered moments, and maybe a little bit of laughter. Until then, take care of yourself, and don't forget, this is not therapy.